The chilly wind howled through the narrow streets of the city as Jonathan hurriedly made his way home. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, each colliding with the next, leaving him feeling more confused and conflicted than ever. The Knight of Swords, symbolizing clarity of thought and decisiveness, seemed a distant ideal to him now, as he found himself caught in the reversed energy of this tarot archetype: indecision, confusion, and a lack of direction. At 28, Jonathan had already achieved what many would consider a successful career. He worked at a prestigious law firm, his sharp mind and quick wit making him a rising star. Yet, as he walked through the door of his modest apartment, he felt none of the fulfillment he had once associated with his job. Instead, there was a growing sense of emptiness, a nagging feeling that he was on the wrong path. As he sat down at his cluttered dining table, strewn with case files and legal documents, his gaze fell upon a small, worn-out deck of tarot cards, a gift from his grandmother who had passed away a year ago. She had been a woman of intuition and wisdom, often consulting her cards for guidance. In a spur of the moment, driven by a mixture of nostalgia and desperation for answers, Jonathan shuffled the deck and drew a single card. The Knight of Swords, reversed. A frown creased his brow. He remembered his grandmother's words: "The tarot reflects your innermost thoughts and feelings, guiding you towards your truth." What truth was the card reflecting? His dissatisfaction with his career? His uncertainty about the future? Lost in thought, Jonathan's mind drifted back to his recent days at the firm. He had been assigned to a high-profile case, one that would undoubtedly advance his career further. Yet, the case felt morally ambiguous, and for the first time, Jonathan questioned the ethics of his actions. Was winning the case worth compromising his values? The reversed Knight of Swords suggested he was battling with his inner moral compass, struggling to align his actions with his true self. This internal conflict was exhausting, leaving him feeling drained and disoriented. Just then, his phone rang, snapping him back to reality. It was his boss, no doubt calling to discuss the case. Jonathan hesitated, his hand hovering over the phone. This call. In that moment, Jonathan made a decision. He wouldn't take the call. He needed time to think, to reassess what he truly wanted from his life. This decision, though small, felt like an act of rebellion against the path he had been mindlessly following. The next morning, Jonathan woke up feeling slightly more resolute. He decided to take the day off, something he hadn't done in months. He spent the morning walking in the park, the crisp air clearing his mind. Watching the leaves gently fall from the trees, Jonathan realized how much he craved change, a change as natural and necessary as the changing seasons. He pondered over the reversed Knight of Swords. Perhaps it was a sign to slow down, to think before charging ahead. It was time to reassess his priorities, to listen to his inner voice that he had long silenced in his pursuit of success. Later that afternoon, Jonathan visited his grandmother's grave. Standing there, he spoke to her as if she were right beside him, telling her about his doubts, fears, and the card he had drawn. He felt a sense of peace wash over him, as if his grandmother's spirit was reassuring him that it was okay to question, to seek a different path. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Jonathan returned home. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to find a path that aligned with his values and passions. The reversed Knight of Swords, once a symbol of his confusion, now represented the first step towards his journey of self-discovery and change. That night, Jonathan started to draft his resignation letter. It was the most difficult yet liberating thing he had ever written. He was stepping into the unknown, but for the first time in a long time, he felt excited about the possibilities that lay ahead. The journey of transformation had just begun. 3 weeks had passed since Jonathan had left his job at the law firm. The decision, though liberating, had thrust him into a period of uncertainty. Yet, in this space of ambiguity, Jonathan found a surprising sense of freedom. It was as if a heavy weight had been lifted off his chest, allowing him to breathe freely for the first time in years. As Jonathan sat in his favorite cafe, sipping a steaming cup of coffee, he felt a sense of calmness wash over him. He had spent the morning revisiting his old hobbies, writing and photography, passions he had long neglected in the pursuit of his career. It was during these moments of creative expression that Jonathan felt most at peace, most himself. The cafe door chimed, and in walked two familiar faces: Sarah and Michael, Jonathan's closest friends from college. They had been a trio, inseparable during their university days, but life's responsibilities had gradually pulled them apart. Upon hearing of Jonathan's career shift, they had reached out, insisting on a catch-up. As they joined him at the table, the air was filled with laughter and nostalgia. They reminisced about their college days, the adventures, and the dreams they once shared. Jonathan felt a warmth in his heart. This was the Three of Cups in its true essence: the joy of connection, the celebration of friendships. Sarah, now a successful graphic designer, spoke passionately about her latest projects. Michael, a teacher, shared amusing anecdotes from his classroom. Listening to them, Jonathan felt a surge of inspiration. They had each followed their passions, carving out lives that were authentically theirs. The conversation turned to Jonathan's decision to leave the law firm. It took a lot of courage to do what you did, Sarah said, her eyes reflecting admiration. Most people spend their whole lives doing what they think they should, rather than what they want. Jonathan shared his aspirations to explore writing and photography more seriously, to build a life around his passions. I want to create something meaningful, something that resonates with who I am, he explained. Michael nodded thoughtfully. It's about finding your purpose, your joy. It's what makes life worth living. Their words were encouraging, validating Jonathan's decision. He realized that this support system was invaluable, a source of strength and motivation on his journey. As the afternoon waned, Jonathan felt a renewed sense of purpose. His friend's presence had reignited a spark within him, a reminder of the dreams he had once held dear. The Three of Cups was not just about joyous reunions, it was a symbol of support, of the strength found in relationships. That evening, Jonathan began outlining a plan. He decided to start a blog, combining his writing and photography. It would be a platform for him to express his creativity, to share his perspective on the world. Excitement bubbled within him as he brainstormed ideas, the words flowing freely onto the page. In the following days, Jonathan immersed himself in his project. He explored the city with his camera, capturing moments of everyday beauty. He wrote about life, about the lessons learned on his journey. The blog, titled Through the Lens, quickly gained a following. People resonated with his honest writing, his unique perspective. Jonathan also began attending local writing and photography workshops, expanding his skills and connecting with like-minded individuals. He found a community of artists and creators, each with their own story, their own journey of transformation. One evening, at a photography exhibition, Jonathan's work caught the eye of a local magazine editor. Impressed by his talent, she offered him a freelance opportunity to contribute to their upcoming issue. It was a small start, but to Jonathan, it meant the world. It was validation that he was on the right path. As Jonathan lay in bed that night, he reflected on the recent changes in his life. He had taken a leap of faith, stepping into the unknown, and it was leading him to places he had never imagined. He felt grateful for Sarah and Michael, for their unwavering support and belief in him. They had been the catalysts, reminding him of the power of connection, of community. The journey ahead was still unclear, filled with its own challenges and uncertainties. But Jonathan felt ready to embrace it all. With his passion as his guide and the support of his friends, he knew he could navigate this new path. The Three of Cups had brought him more than just a reunion with old friends, it had brought him back to himself, to his essence. It was a celebration of life, of connections that inspire and empower. For Jonathan, it marked the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with creativity, purpose, and joy. The autumn leaves swirled in the cool breeze as Jonathan walked through the park, his mind a whirlpool of thoughts. The Eight of Swords card had been on his mind since he drew it from his grandmother's tarot deck the previous night. It symbolized feeling trapped, bound by one's own doubts and fears. But it also hinted at the possibility of liberation, of breaking free from self-imposed constraints. As he sat on a bench, watching families and joggers pass by, Jonathan reflected on how his life had transformed over the past few months. Leaving his job at the law firm had initially felt like stepping into a void, but now he was beginning to embrace the uncertainty. He had discovered a passion for storytelling through his blog, Through the Lens, and was making connections in the creative community. Yet, a part of him still felt restrained, held back by an invisible barrier. The barrier, he realized, was his own fear of failure, of not living up to expectations, of venturing too far from the conventional path. These fears had become his prison, limiting his vision and suffocating his aspirations. Determined to confront these fears, Jonathan decided to embark on a personal project, one that would challenge him to step out of his comfort zone. He planned to create a photo essay documenting the lives of people in his city, capturing their stories of struggle and triumph. This project would not only develop his photographic skills, but also push him to interact with strangers, to listen to their stories, and to present their narratives through his lens. He spent the next few days planning the project, reaching out to potential subjects and scouting locations. Each step was a small victory over his apprehensions. With every person he photographed and every story he heard, Jonathan felt a layer of his fear peel away, revealing a newfound confidence and clarity of purpose. One encounter, in particular, left a deep impact on him. He met an elderly artist, Clara, who had turned her small apartment into a vibrant studio filled with colorful paintings. Her life story was one of resilience. She had battled illness and financial hardships, but never gave up on her art. Our biggest obstacles are often the ones we create in our minds, Clara told him, her eyes twinkling with wisdom. Break free from them, and you'll see how boundless life can be. Jonathan's conversations with Clara and others like her were both humbling and enlightening. They helped him realize that everyone had their own swords binding them, and it was a universal struggle to break free. As he worked on the photo essay, Jonathan's perspective began to shift. He no longer saw himself as a former lawyer who had abandoned a promising career, but as a storyteller, an artist in his own right. He started to accept that there was no predetermined path to success and that it was okay to carve out a unique journey. The photo essay was well received, earning praise from his blog followers and the wider community. The local magazine that had previously offered him a freelance opportunity featured his work, giving him further exposure and credibility. This success was a testament to what he could achieve when he freed himself from mental shackles. With each passing day, the Eight of Swords' influence on Jonathan diminished. He had embraced its lesson that the power to free oneself lies within. The fears and doubts that had once paralyzed him were now catalysts for growth and exploration. As the chapter of his life continued to unfold, Jonathan felt more aligned with his true self than ever before. He had broken free from the invisible swords of fear, stepping into a world filled with possibilities and opportunities. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but now he welcomed the unknown with open arms, ready to carve his path, one story at a time. Jonathan sat at his desk, bathed in the soft glow of the early morning light, staring blankly at the screen in front of him. His blog, Through the Lens, had started to gain traction, his photo essay was being featured in a local magazine, and yet, a creeping sense of doubt gnawed at the edges of his mind. The Strength card, drawn in reverse, lingered in his thoughts, symbolizing a struggle with inner fears and a lack of confidence. He thought back to his decision to leave the law firm, a choice that had seemed so clear and empowering at the time. But now, in the quiet hours of the morning, he found himself wrestling with the consequences of that decision. Was he really cut out for a life of creativity and uncertainty? The financial stability and prestige he had left behind suddenly seemed very appealing. As he sipped his coffee, Jonathan's mind wandered to the challenges he faced. His savings were dwindling, and the freelance work, though fulfilling, wasn't as lucrative as his previous job. The fear of financial instability was real and pressing. Additionally, there was the social pressure his former colleagues progressing in their careers, buying houses, starting families. In contrast, Jonathan's life seemed unanchored and unconventional. The reversed Strength card was a reflection of this inner turmoil. It was as if he had traded external battles for internal ones. He realized that the journey he had embarked upon required not just creative skills, but also a great deal of emotional strength and resilience. Determined to confront these challenges head-on, Jonathan decided to seek guidance. He remembered his grandmother's advice about listening to one's inner voice. He set aside time for introspection, meditating in the mornings, and journaling his thoughts and fears. This practice helped him to understand his emotions better and to recognize the root of his anxieties. In his moments of doubt, Jonathan turned to his support system, his friends Sarah and Michael, and the creative community he had become a part of. Their encouragement and stories of overcoming similar fears reassured him that he was not alone in his struggles. They reminded him that every path had its obstacles, and what mattered was the courage to continue walking. To regain his financial footing, Jonathan took proactive steps. He diversified his income streams, taking on more freelance projects, and even started a small photography class in his neighborhood. Teaching others not only provided additional income, but also reinforced his own skills and passion for photography. It was a gratifying experience, seeing his students discover their love for the art. As he navigated through these challenges, Jonathan's understanding of strength evolved. He realized that true strength was not about the absence of fear or doubt, but about acknowledging these emotions and moving forward despite them. It was about resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, and the courage to be vulnerable. Months passed, and Jonathan found a new rhythm in his life. His blog continued to grow, he was working on a new photo project, and his photography classes were a hit in the community. The inner battles hadn't completely disappeared, but Jonathan was now better equipped to handle them. He had learned to be gentle with himself, to celebrate small victories, and to view challenges as opportunities for growth. The reversed Strength card, which had once symbolized his inner turmoil, had transformed into a reminder of his journey towards emotional resilience and self-acceptance. Jonathan had not only discovered his passion, but was also learning to embrace the strength in vulnerability. As he looked ahead, he was filled with a sense of hope and determination. The path might not be easy, but he was ready to face whatever lay ahead, armed with a newfound understanding of his inner strength. Jonathan sat in his modest living room, the soft hum of the city outside his window providing a steady backdrop to his thoughts. The Six of Pentacles reversed, a card symbolizing imbalance and inequality, reflected his current predicament. Despite his growing success as a photographer and blogger, Jonathan was struggling to find a balance between his passion and his financial needs. The freelance projects, though creatively fulfilling, were sporadic and often paid less than what he was used to earning. He found himself constantly juggling between pursuing his art and taking on less inspiring jobs, just to pay the bills. The inequality in his work life was draining, leaving him feeling frustrated and undervalued. As he pondered over his finances, Jonathan realized that this imbalance extended beyond just money. His personal life had taken a backseat. He had been so focused on establishing his career in photography and writing that he had neglected his relationships. His friends, once a constant presence, now only saw him sporadically, and his dating life was practically non-existent. The reversed Six of Pentacles was a wake-up call. Jonathan knew he needed to make changes to find a way to balance the scales of his life. He decided to start by addressing his financial instability. He set up a meeting with a financial advisor, a step he had been putting off for a long time. The advisor helped him create a budget and a plan for his freelance income, making his financial situation clearer and more manageable. Emboldened by this proactive step, Jonathan turned his attention to his personal life. He reached out to his friends, apologizing for his absence and organizing a get-together. Reconnecting with them reminded Jonathan of the importance of maintaining relationships, of the support and joy they brought into his life. In his quest for balance, Jonathan also started to explore ways to make his passion for photography more sustainable. He brainstormed ideas for a long-term project that could potentially provide a steadier income. After much thought, he decided to create a series of photo books, each focused on different themes and stories from the city. He pitched the idea to a few publishers and, to his delight, received a positive response from a local publishing house interested in collaborating with him. With this new project, Jonathan felt a sense of direction and purpose. He was creating something meaningful that aligned with his passion and promised a more stable income. He dedicated himself to the project, spending his days capturing photos and his evenings curating and editing. As the project progressed, Jonathan noticed a shift in his life. He was becoming more efficient with his time, balancing work on the photo books with freelance projects and personal commitments. He was learning to say no to opportunities that didn't align with his goals or rates, a hard but necessary step towards respecting his worth. The imbalance that the reversed Six of Pentacles had highlighted was slowly correcting itself. Jonathan was finding a rhythm that allowed him to pursue his passion without compromising his financial stability or personal relationships. He learned to value his time and skills, setting boundaries and expectations with clients. This journey towards balance was not without its challenges, but it brought growth and learning. Jonathan realized that life was a continuous act of balancing, of giving and taking, of work and rest, of passion and practicality. The Six of Pentacles, once a symbol of his struggles, had become a reminder of the importance of harmony and equity in all aspects of life. As Jonathan sat down to write a new blog post, reflecting on his journey and the lessons learned, he felt a sense of contentment. He had not only grown as a photographer and writer, but also as a person. He had learned to value himself and his work, to seek balance in his life, and to cherish the relationships that supported and enriched him. The chapter ahead was uncertain, but Jonathan was ready. With a more balanced approach to life, he was prepared to face the future, embracing whatever challenges and opportunities it might bring. In the heart of autumn, Jonathan found himself walking through the familiar paths of the city park, the crunch of fallen leaves under his feet. The Ten of Wands reversed, a tarot card symbolizing the release of burdens and the importance of delegating responsibilities, echoed loudly in his thoughts. Lately, Jonathan had been feeling the weight of his ambitions and commitments bearing down on him, like carrying a bundle of wands too heavy to hold. The success of his blog and the anticipation of his upcoming photo book project had brought a flurry of opportunities and tasks. While he was grateful for these achievements, he also felt overwhelmed. His days were a blur of photo shoots, meetings, editing sessions, and writing. The delicate balance he had strived to maintain seemed to be teetering, threatening to collapse under the pressure of his responsibilities. One evening, over a cup of coffee in his small but cozy apartment, Jonathan realized that he had been trying to do everything on his own. He remembered the reversed Ten of Wands and understood that it was a reminder to ask for help, to share the load. He needed to delegate tasks and prioritize his commitments if he was to continue on his path without burning out. Taking action, Jonathan reached out to a couple of trusted colleagues, offering them freelance work to help with some aspects of his projects. He also hired a part-time assistant to manage his schedule and handle administrative tasks. These steps, though small, lifted a significant weight off his shoulders. He felt a sense of relief, knowing he didn't have to manage everything alone. With a lighter load, Jonathan was able to focus more on the creative aspects of his work, which he loved most. He spent more time exploring the city, capturing its essence through his lens, and less time worrying about the minutiae of his schedule and emails. He also found more time to dedicate to his personal life, reconnecting with friends and indulging in his long-neglected hobby of playing the guitar. However, delegating tasks and managing a small team brought new challenges. Jonathan had to learn to communicate his vision and expectations clearly. He had to trust others to handle parts of his projects, which was not easy for someone who had always been hands-on with every detail. But as he saw the quality of work his team produced, he began to understand the value of collaboration and trust. This period of adjustment was a learning curve for Jonathan. He attended workshops on leadership and management, improving his skills in these areas. He learned to provide constructive feedback, to listen to ideas, and to appreciate the unique perspectives that each team member brought to the table. The reversed Ten of Wands had taught Jonathan an invaluable lesson that strength does not always lie in carrying the burden alone, but in knowing when to share it. He realized that his journey was not just about achieving his dreams, but also about building relationships and fostering a supportive and collaborative environment. As winter approached, Jonathan looked back at the months that had passed. He felt a sense of accomplishment, not just because of the successes he had achieved, but because of the growth he had experienced. He had transformed from a solitary artist trying to do everything on his own to a leader who understood the power of teamwork and delegation. His photo book project was nearing completion, and the anticipation of its release filled him with excitement. But more than that, he was proud of the way he had navigated the challenges that came with it. He had learned to balance his passion with practicality, to take on responsibilities while also taking care of his well-being. The chapter of the Ten of Wands reversed closed with Jonathan feeling more equipped to face the future. He had learned to lighten his load, to trust others, and to lead with confidence. As he walked through the park, the winter breeze felt refreshing, carrying away the last remnants of the weight he had once felt. Ahead lay new challenges, new opportunities, and Jonathan was ready to meet them, step by step, with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. The crisp air of early spring brought with it a sense of renewal and hope as Jonathan strolled through the bustling streets of his beloved city. The Ten of Cups, a card representing emotional fulfillment and harmony, had been on his mind recently. After months of relentless work and personal challenges, Jonathan finally felt a sense of completeness and joy enveloping his life. The launch of his photo book had been a resounding success, exceeding even his own expectations. The images and stories captured within its pages resonated with many, earning Jonathan critical acclaim and a newfound recognition in the artistic community. More than the accolades, however, it was the personal satisfaction of achieving a dream long held that filled him with immense joy. But the Ten of Cups spoke to more than just professional success, it symbolized a harmonious and fulfilling personal life. Jonathan had made a conscious effort to reconnect with those he cherished, nurturing the bonds he had previously neglected. Dinners with friends, weekend outings, and heartfelt conversations had become a regular part of his life, bringing a sense of belonging and happiness he hadn't realized he was missing. One sunny afternoon, while enjoying a leisurely coffee at his favorite cafe, Jonathan found himself deeply engrossed in a novel, something he hadn't had the time to indulge in for a long while. It was in these simple pleasures that he found the essence of the Ten of Cups, contentment in life's small joys. His thoughts were interrupted by a tap on the shoulder. Turning around, Jonathan was pleasantly surprised to see Emily, an old friend and former colleague from the law firm. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, reminiscing about old times and sharing updates on their lives. Emily spoke of her admiration for Jonathan's courage to follow his passion, confessing her own longing for a change in her hectic corporate life. Jonathan's journey, it seemed, had inspired not just himself but others around him to contemplate their paths to fulfillment. It was a humbling and gratifying realization, reinforcing the idea that personal choices can have a wider impact than one might anticipate. The concept of emotional fulfillment extended to Jonathan's family as well. He had grown closer to his parents, understanding and appreciating their support and sacrifices more than ever. Regular visits and phone calls had bridged the gap that his busy life had created, reaffirming the importance of family in his life. Perhaps the most significant change, however, was in Jonathan's own perception of happiness. He had learned that true contentment didn't solely come from career achievements or financial success, but from a balanced life filled with love, creativity, and meaningful connections. The Ten of Cups had taught him that fulfillment was multifaceted, a combination of personal and professional satisfaction, of giving and receiving love, and of being at peace with oneself. As spring gave way to summer, Jonathan embarked on new projects with a heart full of gratitude and joy. He started a series of workshops for aspiring photographers, sharing his knowledge and experiences. He found great satisfaction in mentoring others, watching them discover their passion and develop their skills. He also began writing a new series for his blog, focusing on the stories of everyday people he met on his travels around the city. These stories, rich in human experience and emotion, were his way of celebrating the diversity and resilience of life. The chapter of the Ten of Cups closed with Jonathan sitting by the riverside, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink. He felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, a testament to the journey he had undertaken. He had found a harmonious balance in his life, a perfect blend of passion, love, and happiness. As he looked out at the city that had been his canvas and his muse, Jonathan realized that the journey was far from over. There were more stories to tell, more images to capture, and more cups to fill. But for now, he was content, basking in the warmth of his fulfilled heart, ready for whatever the future might bring. The summer sun cast long shadows on the city streets as Jonathan walked with a sense of purposeful stride. The Five of Wands, a card signifying competition and challenge, had been on his mind, symbolizing the new phase of his journey. Jonathan was embracing a new challenge, one that would test his skills and push him out of his comfort zone. After the success of his photo book and blog, Jonathan had garnered the attention of the creative community. He was invited to participate in a prestigious photography competition, an event that brought together some of the most talented artists in the field. Initially, Jonathan was hesitant. The thought of competing against such skilled photographers was daunting. But he remembered the lesson of the Five of Wands, that competition can be a powerful motivator for growth and improvement. As he prepared for the competition, Jonathan dedicated himself to refining his craft. He experimented with new techniques and perspectives, pushing the boundaries of his art. He spent long hours capturing the life and energy of the city, seeking those perfect moments that told a story through a single frame. The process was exhilarating but also exhausting. There were moments of doubt and frustration when things didn't go as planned, when the light wasn't right, or the composition felt off. But Jonathan persisted, reminding himself that every challenge was an opportunity to learn and improve. The day of the competition arrived, and Jonathan felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The venue was filled with talented photographers, each with their own unique style and vision. As he walked through the gallery, viewing the works on display, Jonathan felt a sense of awe and inspiration. The level of creativity and skill was astounding, and he felt honored to be among such a group. When it was time to present his work, Jonathan took a deep breath and stepped forward. He shared his photographs, each capturing a different aspect of city life: the quiet moments before dawn, the hustle of the midday crowds, the reflective calm of the evening. His work told a story of the city as seen through his eyes, a narrative of beauty in the ordinary. The judges were impressed with Jonathan's work, praising his eye for detail and his ability to capture emotion. While he didn't win the top prize, Jonathan felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had pushed his limits, learned from others, and had his work recognized by his peers. More importantly, the competition had ignited a new spark in Jonathan. He realized that healthy competition was not about winning against others, but about challenging oneself to be better. It was about learning from those around you, drawing inspiration from their strengths, and using that knowledge to improve your own craft. Inspired by this experience, Jonathan decided to collaborate with some of the photographers he had met at the competition. Together, they worked on a joint project, a photo exhibition showcasing the diverse perspectives and styles of the city's artists. The collaboration was a celebration of their shared passion for photography and a testament to the power of collective creativity. As the exhibition drew to a close, Jonathan reflected on the journey he had undertaken. The Five of Wands had taught him valuable lessons about the positive aspects of competition and challenge. He had grown as an artist and as a person, learning to embrace competition as a healthy and motivating force. The chapter ended with Jonathan feeling more confident and inspired than ever. He had a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper appreciation for the community he was part of. He looked forward to the future, ready to embrace new challenges and opportunities, knowing that each would bring growth and enrichment to his life and art. As autumn approached, painting the city in hues of gold and amber, Jonathan found himself in a reflective mood. The King of Cups reversed, a tarot card symbolizing emotional imbalance and a lack of maturity, had surfaced in his recent reading, prompting him to introspect on his emotional journey. The past months had been a whirlwind of professional successes and personal growth, but they also brought to light Jonathan's struggles with managing his emotions under stress. He realized that while he had been focusing on his career and external achievements, he had neglected to tend to his emotional well-being. The reversed King of Cups represented this imbalance. Jonathan understood that to continue growing and thriving, he needed to cultivate emotional stability and maturity. He started by acknowledging his tendency to suppress feelings of anxiety and stress, a habit that had led to bouts of moodiness and withdrawal, affecting not only him, but also his relationships with friends and family. Determined to change this pattern, Jonathan sought the help of a therapist. These sessions became a safe space for him to explore his emotions, understand their roots, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. He learned the importance of expressing his feelings rather than bottling them up, and the value of vulnerability in building stronger, more authentic connections with others. As Jonathan worked on his emotional self, he also took steps to bring more balance into his life. He revisited his daily routine, incorporating activities that brought him peace and relaxation. Mornings started with meditation and journaling, a practice that helped him start his day with a clear, calm mind. He made time for regular catch-ups with friends, ensuring that he stayed connected and grounded in his personal life. However, the journey to emotional maturity was not without its challenges. There were days when old habits resurfaced, when the pressures of his career and personal aspirations seemed overwhelming. But Jonathan was learning to be kind to himself, to recognize these moments as part of his growth process. He also began to channel his emotional journey into his art. His photographs took on a deeper, more introspective quality, reflecting his inner state and growth. This new direction in his work resonated with his audience, who appreciated the authenticity and vulnerability of his pieces. Jonathan's relationships began to flourish as well. He found that his newfound emotional openness allowed for more meaningful and supportive connections. His friends and family noticed the change in him, appreciating his willingness to share his struggles and listen to theirs. The King of Cups reversed had been a wake-up call for Jonathan, a reminder that true strength lies in emotional resilience and maturity. As he worked through his challenges, he found that he was not only becoming a better artist, but also a more compassionate and balanced individual. As the leaves began to fall, marking the end of another season, Jonathan reflected on his journey. He felt grateful for the lessons learned and the progress made. The reversed King of Cups, once a symbol of his emotional struggles, had become a catalyst for profound personal growth. With winter on the horizon, Jonathan looked forward to continuing his journey with a heart more open and a spirit more resilient. The chapter closed with Jonathan feeling a sense of peace and readiness for the future, embracing both his successes and his vulnerabilities with equal acceptance. The onset of winter brought a serene stillness to the city, but for Jonathan, it mirrored a contrasting tumult within. The Temperance card, drawn in reverse, resonated deeply with him, reflecting his current state of imbalance. The card, often symbolizing harmony and moderation, warned of excess and discord when reversed. Jonathan found himself in the midst of this turmoil, struggling to maintain the equilibrium between his professional aspirations and personal life. The success of his recent projects had skyrocketed his career to new heights. Offers for collaborations, exhibitions, and guest appearances flooded in, each more enticing than the last. While Jonathan was grateful for these opportunities, he felt overwhelmed. His schedule was packed, leaving little time for rest or reflection. The balance he had once strived for was tipping dangerously. One particularly hectic morning, as Jonathan rushed from one meeting to another, he realized the toll his lifestyle was taking on him. His health had begun to suffer, he was frequently tired, his sleep was erratic, and he found it hard to concentrate. His personal relationships were also strained. He had missed important family gatherings and hadn't seen his friends in weeks. The reversed Temperance card was a stark reminder of the consequences of living a life out of balance. Determined to regain control, Jonathan decided to take a step back and reevaluate his priorities. He began by declining new projects that didn't align with his personal goals or values, no matter how lucrative they were. This decision was difficult, as it meant saying no to potential fame and financial gain, but Jonathan knew it was necessary for his well-being. Next, he revisited his daily routine, cutting back on work hours and dedicating time to self-care. He reintroduced activities that he enjoyed but had neglected, like long walks in the park, reading for leisure, and playing the guitar. These moments of tranquility and joy were crucial in restoring his mental and physical health. Jonathan also sought to mend and strengthen his personal relationships. He reached out to his family and friends, apologizing for his absence and making a conscious effort to be more present in their lives. He planned regular meetups, dinners, and weekend getaways, rekindling the bonds he cherished. These interactions brought a sense of belonging and happiness that he had missed. On the professional front, Jonathan started delegating more tasks and setting clearer boundaries with clients and collaborators. He realized the importance of having a supportive team and began to trust and rely on them more. This not only reduced his workload, but also allowed him to focus on the creative aspects of his work that he loved most. As the winter months passed, Jonathan noticed a significant change in his life. The sense of overwhelm and exhaustion had subsided, replaced by a feeling of contentment and control. He had learned the hard way that success, when not balanced with personal well-being, could lead to burnout and unhappiness. The Temperance card reversed had been a warning, but it had also been a guide, leading him back to a path of moderation and self-care. Jonathan had discovered that balance was not a static state, but a continuous process of adjustment and realignment. The chapter closed with Jonathan sitting in his studio, surrounded by his photographs and the soft strumming of his guitar in the background. He felt a deep sense of gratitude and peace. The journey had been challenging, but it had brought invaluable lessons and growth. As the first signs of spring appeared, Jonathan looked forward to the future with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to maintaining balance in all areas of his life. He knew that challenges would continue to arise, but he also knew that he had the tools and wisdom to face them, keeping his life in harmony. With the arrival of spring, the city bloomed anew, and so did Jonathan's life, mirroring the essence of the Nine of Pentacles. This tarot card, representing rewards, self-sufficiency, and the fruits of one's labor, perfectly encapsulated the phase Jonathan found himself in. The hard work, challenges, and learning of the past year were culminating in a period of achievement and personal satisfaction. Jonathan's photo book had not only been a commercial success, but had also opened doors to new, exciting opportunities. He was invited to prestigious art shows and photography seminars as a guest speaker, where he shared his journey and insights with aspiring artists. These experiences were not just professionally rewarding, but also deeply fulfilling on a personal level. The financial stability that eluded him in the early days of his career shift was now a reality. Jonathan was able to comfortably support himself through his art, a testament to his talent and perseverance. The Nine of Pentacles spoke to this achievement, symbolizing the security and independence he had earned. One bright Saturday morning, Jonathan visited a local art school to conduct a workshop. Interacting with the students, seeing their enthusiasm and potential, reminded him of his own beginnings and the doubts and fears he had overcome. Sharing his knowledge and inspiring the next generation of artists was a reward in itself, an experience that brought a sense of completion and joy. Jonathan's personal life also flourished. The balance he had worked hard to achieve allowed him to spend quality time with his family and friends. He had rekindled old friendships and even started a new relationship, finding love in the most unexpected place, a photography exhibition. His partner, Mia, was a fellow artist, and they connected over their shared passion for creativity and expression. Together, they explored the city, capturing its beauty through their lenses, and spent evenings discussing art, life, and dreams. Mia's presence in Jonathan's life brought a new dimension of happiness and companionship, further enriching his journey. As the season progressed, Jonathan embarked on a new project, a series of photographs capturing the essence of spring in the city. He wandered through parks and streets, capturing the vibrant colors, the people basking in the sun, and the overall sense of rejuvenation that the season brought. This project was a personal endeavor, born out of love for his art and his city. During this time, Jonathan also made it a point to give back to the community that had supported him. He organized free photography classes for underprivileged youth, providing them with a platform to learn and express themselves. It was his way of paying forward the help and guidance he had received along his journey. The chapter of the Nine of Pentacles was a period of reflection and gratitude for Jonathan. He had achieved much of what he had set out to do, but more importantly, he had grown as a person. He had learned the value of hard work, the importance of balance, and the joy of sharing his success with others. As the chapter closed, Jonathan sat in his studio, surrounded by his latest works, feeling a deep sense of contentment and pride. He had navigated the ups and downs of his journey with resilience and determination, and now he was reaping the rewards. The future looked bright, filled with possibilities and new adventures, but for now, he was content to savor the moment, basking in the accomplishments of his hard work and the beauty of a life well lived. The gentle warmth of early summer brought a nostalgic air to Jonathan's days, perfectly aligning with the Six of Cups tarot card, which symbolized revisiting the past, cherishing memories, and nurturing bonds. This period of his life was about reconnecting with his roots and the simple joys that had shaped him. Jonathan found himself revisiting the old neighborhood where he grew up. Walking down the familiar streets, he recalled his childhood days, the games he played, the friends he made, and the dreams he harbored. It was a time of innocence and wonder, elements that he sometimes missed in the complex weave of his adult life. This trip down memory lane wasn't just a nostalgic indulgence, it served a deeper purpose. Jonathan had been working on a photography series that captured the essence of childhood, the innocence, joy, and simplicity of those early years. Returning to his roots provided him with a fresh perspective and inspiration for his project. One sunny afternoon, while photographing the playgrounds and parks of his youth, Jonathan ran into Mrs. Peterson, his old elementary school art teacher. She was pleasantly surprised to see him and immensely proud to learn about his accomplishments as a photographer. Their conversation was a heartwarming reminder of the encouragement and support she had given him, which had played a part in nurturing his early interest in the arts. Inspired by this encounter, Jonathan decided to host a community art exhibition in his old neighborhood. He wanted to give back to the community that had raised him and to inspire the next generation of young artists. The exhibition would feature his work alongside pieces from local school children, creating a space where professional art and budding talent could coexist and be celebrated. As he organized the exhibition, Jonathan reconnected with more childhood friends and acquaintances. Each rekindled friendship brought stories of their shared past and updates on their present lives. It was heartening to see the diverse paths they had all taken, yet they shared a bond that time hadn't eroded. The day of the exhibition was filled with laughter, chatter, and a sense of community. Jonathan's photographs were well received, but more importantly, the event brought together people of all ages, celebrating art and reminiscing about the neighborhood's history. It was a fulfilling experience, seeing the excitement and pride in the children's eyes as they showed their art. The Six of Cups had another lesson for Jonathan: the value of simplicity and the joy in small things. Amid his busy life, he had started to overlook the simple pleasures that brought happiness. He made a conscious decision to slow down and savor these moments, whether it was enjoying a quiet morning coffee, reading a book in the park, or just watching the sunset. This chapter also brought a deeper appreciation for the relationships in his life. He spent more time with his family, cherishing the moments with his parents and siblings. His relationship with Mia continued to blossom, grounded in mutual respect, love, and shared interests. As summer progressed, Jonathan found a balanced rhythm in life. His professional endeavors continued to thrive, but they no longer overshadowed the other aspects of his life. The Six of Cups had brought a refreshing perspective, reminding him of where he came from and the simple joys that life offers. The chapter closed with Jonathan feeling a deep sense of contentment and gratitude. He had rediscovered parts of himself that he had lost touch with and had strengthened the bonds that mattered most. Looking ahead, he was excited about the future, but he also knew the importance of living in the moment, cherishing each day and the memories it brought. As the vibrant colors of summer began to fade into the mellow tones of autumn, Jonathan found himself reflecting on the ever-turning Wheel of Fortune. This tarot card, symbolizing change, cycles, and fate, seemed to perfectly encapsulate the current phase of his life, one marked by unexpected turns and new beginnings. The first significant change came with an unexpected offer for Jonathan to hold a solo photography exhibition in a renowned art gallery. This opportunity was a dream come true, a chance to showcase his work on a prestigious platform. However, it also meant stepping out of his comfort zone and into a more prominent public spotlight. As he prepared for the exhibition, Jonathan experienced a mix of excitement and apprehension. The prospect of reaching a wider audience was thrilling, but the pressure to meet high expectations was daunting. He worked tirelessly, selecting his best works and creating a few new pieces specifically for the event. This process was both challenging and invigorating, pushing him to new creative heights. Meanwhile, life threw another curveball at Jonathan. His relationship with Mia began to face challenges as their careers took them in different directions. Mia received an offer to participate in an art project abroad, a fantastic opportunity for her career, but one that meant spending a significant amount of time apart. Jonathan grappled with mixed emotions, pride and happiness for Mia's success, but also a sense of loss and uncertainty about their future. The Wheel of Fortune reminded him that change was a natural part of life and relationships. He and Mia had several heartfelt discussions about their future and decided to support each other's dreams, even if it meant being apart for a while. The day of the exhibition arrived, marking a pivotal moment in Jonathan's career. The gallery was filled with his photographs, each telling a story, capturing moments of life in the city. Friends, family, art enthusiasts, and critics gathered, admiring his work and offering congratulations. The event was a resounding success, cementing Jonathan's reputation as a talented and insightful photographer. However, the highlight of the evening was an unexpected visit from Mrs. Peterson, his old art teacher. Seeing her pride and joy at his accomplishment was deeply moving. It was a full-circle moment for Jonathan, reminding him of his journey from a young aspiring artist to where he stood now. The Wheel of Fortune's influence was evident in these highs and lows. Jonathan realized that life was a series of cycles and changes, each phase bringing its own challenges and rewards. He learned to embrace these changes, understanding that they were essential for growth and development. The chapter of the Wheel of Fortune also brought a deeper self-awareness for Jonathan. He recognized the importance of staying grounded and true to himself amidst success and recognition. He continued to engage in community projects and mentor young photographers, activities that kept him connected to his roots and values. As autumn deepened, Jonathan faced the future with a sense of optimism and readiness. The changes in his life, both professionally and personally, had brought growth, new opportunities, and a deeper understanding of himself and the world around him. The chapter closed with Jonathan planning his next project, inspired by the themes of change and transition. He looked forward to what the future held, knowing that the Wheel of Fortune would continue to turn, bringing new challenges, opportunities, and experiences. He was ready to ride the wheel, wherever it might take him, embracing each change with an open heart and a creative spirit. The brisk winds of early winter swept through the city, mirroring the turbulent thoughts swirling in Jonathan's mind. He found himself at a crossroads, symbolized by the appearance of the Fool reversed in his latest tarot reading. This card, often representing naivety and reckless decisions when upright, spoke to Jonathan of caution and reflection when faced with a new beginning or a significant change. After the success of his exhibition and the growing recognition in the art world, Jonathan was presented with an offer that could potentially transform his career. A renowned international gallery had approached him with a proposal to host a series of his exhibitions across several countries. It was an opportunity of a lifetime, promising wider exposure and significant advancement in his career. However, this opportunity also came with its share of uncertainties. It meant a long-term commitment, extensive travel, and being away from his loved ones and the city that inspired his work. Jonathan's relationship with Mia, already strained by distance, would face further challenges. The Fool reversed was urging him to tread carefully, to weigh his options before taking this leap. As Jonathan grappled with this decision, he sought counsel from his closest confidants. His family, always supportive, encouraged him to pursue this opportunity, emphasizing its potential to elevate his career. His friends, though wary of the impact on his personal life, also saw the value in such exposure. Mia, understanding the significance of this offer, urged him to follow his dreams, despite the personal cost to their relationship. In his moments of solitude, Jonathan turned to his art for clarity. He spent hours in his studio, his photographs serving as a medium to explore his emotions and fears. The process was therapeutic, helping him to untangle his thoughts and listen to his inner voice. The decision weighed heavily on him. On one hand, this was everything he had worked towards, a chance to showcase his art on an international stage. On the other, it risked the life he had built, the relationships he cherished, and the balance he had strived to maintain. After weeks of reflection, Jonathan made his choice. In a decision that surprised even himself, he declined the offer. He realized that while the professional rewards were substantial, they did not outweigh the personal sacrifices required. The full reverse had reminded him that not every opportunity was worth pursuing, especially if it compromised the aspects of life he valued most. This decision marked a significant moment in Jonathan's journey, one where he prioritized his personal happiness and relationships over professional advancement. It was a reaffirmation of his values and a testament to the maturity he had gained. The aftermath of this decision brought a sense of peace and certainty. Jonathan focused on local projects, continuing to build his portfolio and impact within his community. He reconnected with Mia, and together they navigated the complexities of their relationship, strengthened by the mutual respect and understanding they held for each other's aspirations. As the chapter of The Fool Reversed came to a close, Jonathan found himself in a place of contentment and gratitude. He had learned the importance of listening to his intuition and staying true to himself. The journey ahead remained uncertain, but he felt equipped to face it with a clear mind and a steadfast heart. The winter snow began to blanket the city, transforming it into a picturesque scene straight out of his photographs. Jonathan, camera in hand, captured this beauty, reminded once again of the simple joys that his art brought him. He was ready for the next chapter, whatever it may hold, carrying with him the lessons of the Fool Reversed, the wisdom to discern, the courage to choose, and the faith to trust in his journey. As winter's embrace tightened around the city, Jonathan found himself walking its snow-covered streets, deep in thought. The Eight of Cups Reversed had appeared in his latest tarot reading, a card symbolizing reluctance to move on and the fear of facing change. This resonated with Jonathan, who was grappling with a lingering sense of dissatisfaction and uncertainty about his future path. Despite his recent decision to prioritize personal over professional growth, Jonathan couldn't shake off a feeling of unease. He wondered if he had made the right choice in turning down the international exhibition opportunity. Had he let go of a once-in-a-lifetime chance? The Eight of Cups Reversed spoke to these doubts, reflecting his inner struggle with letting go and moving forward. This period of introspection led Jonathan to realize that he was at a point in his life where he needed to reassess his goals and desires. His journey as a photographer had brought him immense satisfaction and recognition, but he now yearned for something more, something that would reignite his passion and sense of purpose. One cold evening, while looking through his old photographs, Jonathan stumbled upon a series of images he had taken during his early days as a photographer. These images, raw and filled with emotion, reminded him of why he had fallen in love with photography in the first place. It was a medium to tell stories, to capture the beauty and complexity of the human experience. Inspired by this revelation, Jonathan decided to embark on a new project. He wanted to create a documentary series focusing on the lives of everyday people, telling their stories through a combination of photography and narrative. This project felt right. It was a way to return to his roots, while also exploring new creative dimensions. As he began working on this new venture, Jonathan's doubts and fears slowly started to dissipate. He found himself engrossed in the lives of the people he was documenting, each story unique and deeply personal. This work brought a new level of fulfillment and joy, different from anything he had experienced before. However, the Eight of Cups Reversed also reminded Jonathan of the importance of facing unresolved issues. He realized that part of his dissatisfaction stemmed from not fully addressing the impact of his recent decisions on his personal life. His relationship with Mia, though stable, had not fully recovered from the strain of their career-driven choices. Determined to confront these challenges, Jonathan initiated open and honest conversations with Mia. They discussed their aspirations, fears, and the future of their relationship. These discussions were not easy, but they were necessary. They brought a deeper understanding and closeness, strengthening their bond. As winter gave way to the first signs of spring, Jonathan felt a renewed sense of clarity and direction. The Eight of Cups Reversed had forced him to confront his doubts and fears, leading him to a path of self-discovery and growth. He was no longer hesitant to move forward. Instead, he embraced the changes and challenges that came his way. The chapter closed with Jonathan planning an exhibition of his documentary series. This exhibition was not just a showcase of his work, but a celebration of the stories he had captured and the personal journey he had undertaken. As he prepared for the exhibition, Jonathan felt a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons learned and the growth experienced. The journey had not been easy, but it had been transformative. He was ready to face the future with a clear vision and an open heart, guided by the lessons of the Eight of Cups Reversed to embrace change, confront fears, and find fulfillment in the pursuit of one's true passion. As spring unfolded its vibrant colors across the city, Jonathan found himself in a phase of introspection and renewal. The Star Reversed had appeared in his tarot reading, a card symbolizing lost hope and disillusionment, but also the need for self-belief and inspiration. It was a poignant reminder of Jonathan's current state, caught between past achievements and uncertainty about the future. The success of his previous projects had set a high standard, and Jonathan felt the pressure to continue at the same pace. However, he realized that he had been chasing expectations, both his and others, losing sight of what initially ignited his passion for photography. The reversed star was a call to rekindle that inner spark and to rediscover his purpose. This period of self-reflection led Jonathan to take a break from his usual routine. He embarked on a solo journey, traveling to places he had never visited. These travels were not for work but for self-discovery. He explored different landscapes, met new people, and experienced cultures that were vastly different from his own. This journey was a departure from the familiarity of his city, a chance to view the world through a fresh lens. As he traveled, Jonathan kept a journal, documenting his experiences and thoughts. He took photographs, but these were personal mementos rather than professional pieces. This freedom from professional constraints allowed him to experiment and capture images purely for the joy of it. During his travels, Jonathan encountered various artists and creatives who shared their stories and work with him. These interactions were enlightening, showing him the diverse ways in which art could be expressed and experienced. He was particularly inspired by a group of street artists in a small town, whose vibrant and thought-provoking murals brought life to the community. This encounter reminded Jonathan of the power of art to inspire and provoke change. He realized that his photography could be more than just capturing moments, it could be a medium for storytelling and for sparking conversations about broader societal issues. With this new perspective, Jonathan returned home, his mind brimming with ideas and a renewed sense of purpose. The star reversed had indeed been a guiding light, leading him through a period of doubt and rediscovery to a place of clarity and renewed passion. Back in the city, Jonathan began working on a new project, one that combined photography with social commentary. He focused on themes such as urbanization, cultural diversity, and environmental conservation. This project was not just about exhibiting his work, it was about engaging the community and encouraging dialogue about important issues. As he delved into this project, Jonathan felt a resurgence of the enthusiasm and creativity that had driven him at the start of his career. He organized community workshops and open forums alongside his exhibitions, creating spaces for discussion and interaction. The star reversed had taught Jonathan an important lesson about resilience and staying true to one's values. He had learned that it was okay to step back, reassess, and take a new direction. His journey of self-discovery had brought a deeper understanding of his art and its potential impact. The chapter closed with the successful launch of Jonathan's new exhibition. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with people appreciating not only the artistic quality of his work, but also the messages it conveyed. Jonathan stood amidst his photographs, a sense of fulfillment in his heart. He had navigated through a period of doubt to find a renewed sense of purpose and direction. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but Jonathan was ready to embrace it with an open mind and a rejuvenated spirit. The reversed star, once a symbol of lost hope, had become a beacon of inspiration, guiding him towards a future filled with possibilities and the promise of personal and artistic growth. As the summer sun cast long, lazy shadows across the cityscape, Jonathan found himself contemplating the implications of the Justice reversed card from his latest tarot reading. Traditionally symbolizing imbalance, unfairness, or unresolved issues, this card struck a chord with Jonathan, highlighting the internal conflict he was experiencing between his career demands and personal ethics. In recent weeks, Jonathan had been approached by a major corporate entity interested in using his images for a high-profile advertising campaign. The offer was lucrative and promised to bring his work to an even broader audience. However, the corporation's values and practices were in stark contrast to Jonathan's own beliefs, particularly concerning environmental and social responsibilities. Torn between the allure of financial gain and staying true to his principles, Jonathan grappled with a decision that was more complex than any he had faced before. The Justice reversed card reflected this struggle, emphasizing the need for a decision that aligned with his moral compass. Seeking guidance, Jonathan reached out to his mentor, an experienced photographer whose opinion he deeply respected. The lengthy conversation offered no easy answers, but provided Jonathan with valuable perspective. His mentor reminded him that every choice he made as an artist and as a person defined who he was and what he stood for. This conversation led Jonathan to reflect on the path he had taken since leaving his law career. His journey in photography was not just about capturing images, it was about telling stories that mattered, about highlighting the beauty and complexity of the world, and about inspiring change. Accepting the corporate offer would contradict the very essence of why he had chosen this path. With a heavy heart but a clear mind, Jonathan declined the offer. This decision, while financially disadvantageous, reinforced his commitment to his principles and the integrity of his art. It was a reaffirmation of his belief that success should not come at the cost of one's values. However, the Justice reversed card's influence extended beyond this decision. It made Jonathan acutely aware of the need for balance in other aspects of his life. The recent focus on his career had led to a neglect of his personal relationships, particularly with Mia. The strain of their conflicting schedules and goals had created a distance between them, both emotionally and physically. Determined to address this imbalance, Jonathan planned a weekend getaway with Mia, intending to reconnect and communicate openly about their future together. This trip was a respite from their busy lives, a chance to focus on each other without distractions. During the getaway, Jonathan and Mia had heartfelt discussions about their relationship, sharing their fears, aspirations, and love for each other. They acknowledged the challenges of maintaining a relationship amidst their demanding careers, but reaffirmed their commitment to making it work. This open communication brought them closer, strengthening their bond. As summer faded into autumn, Jonathan found himself more at peace. The decision to stay true to his values in the face of tempting opportunities had reaffirmed his sense of self-worth and purpose. He had also taken steps to restore balance in his relationship with Mia, ensuring that his personal life received as much attention and care as his professional endeavors. The chapter of Justice Reversed closed with Jonathan understanding that life was a continuous act of balancing between career and conscience, between personal ambitions and relationships. He had learned that true justice in life was not about external rewards, but about maintaining integrity, honoring one's principles, and nurturing the bonds that truly mattered. As autumn painted the city in shades of orange and red, Jonathan found himself confronting the Seven of Cups reversed in his tarot reading. This card, often associated with delusion, temptation, and the need to make clear choices, echoed loudly in his life. It reflected the complex and often deceptive allure of success, and the importance of staying grounded in reality. Jonathan's reputation as a photographer had soared, bringing him not just acclaim, but also a certain celebrity status. Invitations to exclusive events, collaborations with high-profile artists, and features in prestigious magazines had become a regular part of his life. On the surface, it seemed like he had achieved the pinnacle of success. However, the Seven of Cups reversed suggested that all was not as it seemed. Caught up in the whirlwind of fame, Jonathan started to feel a growing sense of emptiness. The constant attention and superficial interactions at events left him yearning for more meaningful connections and work that felt true to his heart. He realized that the glittering world of fame was an illusion, offering momentary exhilaration but little lasting satisfaction. This realization hit him hard one evening at a gallery opening where his work was being showcased. Surrounded by admirers and industry influencers, Jonathan felt strangely detached. Amidst the applause and accolades, he longed for the simple joy of capturing the unnoticed moments of everyday life, the essence of what had driven him to photography in the first place. Returning to his studio that night, Jonathan spent hours looking through his old portfolios, reminiscing about the projects that had given him the most fulfillment. These were not his most famous works, but they were the ones where he had connected deeply with his subjects and his artistic vision. It was a stark reminder of what truly mattered to him as an artist. The next morning, Jonathan made a decision to step back from the high-profile but unfulfilling projects. He declined several lucrative offers, choosing instead to focus on a personal project he had long contemplated: a documentary series about the lives of city dwellers, capturing the diversity and resilience of the urban human spirit. This shift was not easy. Jonathan faced criticism and bewilderment from peers in the media, who couldn't understand why he would turn away from the limelight. But for Jonathan, this was a necessary step to reclaim his artistic integrity and realign his work with his values. As he immersed himself in this new project, Jonathan found the fulfillment he had been missing. He spent days roaming the city, engaging with its inhabitants, and capturing their stories through his lens. Each photograph was a testament to the authentic experiences and emotions of everyday life, far removed from the staged glamour of his recent work. During this time, Jonathan also reconnected with his roots. He visited his family more often, spent quality time with Mia, and rekindled friendships he had neglected. These moments of connection and simplicity were a balm to his soul, reminding him of the joy in life's basic pleasures. As autumn gave way to winter, the Seven of Cups reversed had taught Jonathan an invaluable lesson. He learned that success was not just about public recognition and financial rewards, but about staying true to one's passions and maintaining genuine connections. The illusions of success, while tempting, could not compare to the deep satisfaction of creating work that resonated with his heart and soul. The chapter closed with Jonathan feeling a renewed sense of purpose and contentment. He had navigated the deceptive allure of superficial success and emerged. He was ready to face the future, guided by the lessons of the Seven of Cups reversed, to seek fulfillment in authenticity, to make choices aligned with his values, and to find beauty in the simple, unvarnished tapestry of life. Winter's frost had barely touched the city when Jonathan encountered the Two of Swords reversed in his tarot reading. Traditionally symbolizing indecision, conflict, and the need for balance, this card resonated with Jonathan's current predicament. He found himself at an impasse, torn between the evolving demands of his career and the need to preserve his personal life's integrity. The documentary series on city life had been a resounding success, garnering critical acclaim and touching the hearts of many. This project had reconnected Jonathan with his love for authentic storytelling, yet it also brought an unexpected challenge. A major television network approached him with an offer to turn his series into a documentary feature. This opportunity promised significant exposure and the chance to reach a wider audience, but it also demanded a level of commitment and time that Jonathan feared would disrupt the delicate balance he had strived to maintain in his life. Jonathan grappled with the decision. On one hand, the project aligned perfectly with his artistic vision and offered a platform to amplify the voices and stories he had captured. On the other hand, he feared losing control over his work's direction and becoming entangled in a demanding schedule that could strain his personal relationships, particularly with Mia. This internal conflict was further complicated by Mia's own career progression. She had recently been offered a residency program in another city, an opportunity she had longed for. Their paths, while parallel in ambition, seemed to diverge in direction, and the distance threatened to widen the gap between them. As the days grew shorter and colder, Jonathan sought solace in his photography, using his art to navigate through his tangled thoughts. He revisited the places and people he had photographed, seeking their perspectives and wisdom. These interactions, grounded in the raw realities of life, provided him with clarity and a sense of direction. Eventually, Jonathan made the difficult decision to decline the television network's offer. He realized that while the project was an incredible opportunity, it did not align with his current priorities. He wanted to maintain control over his work and ensure that his personal life did not become a casualty of his professional success. This decision, while tough, felt right. It was a reaffirmation of Jonathan's commitment to balance and his belief that success should not come at the expense of personal fulfillment and relationships. With Mia, Jonathan had honest and open discussions about their future. They agreed to support each other's aspirations, acknowledging that their journey together might involve periods of distance. They committed to maintaining their connection through regular communication and planned visits, embracing the challenges as part of their growth as individuals and as a couple. The Two of Swords reversed had been a stark reminder of the challenges in maintaining balance in life. Jonathan had faced a difficult decision, but emerged with a deeper understanding of his values and priorities. As winter gave way to the first signs of spring, Jonathan embarked on a new series of photographs, this time focusing on the theme of balance, capturing the harmony and discord present in everyday life. This project was a reflection of his journey, a narrative of finding equilibrium amidst the constant push and pull of life's demands. The chapter closed with Jonathan more at peace with himself. He had navigated through a period of conflict and indecision, and had made choices that honored both his career and personal life. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Jonathan was ready to face it with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to preserving the balance he had worked so hard to achieve. As the first buds of spring began to appear, painting the city with a renewed sense of life, Jonathan found himself reflecting on the Wheel of Fortune. This tarot card, symbolizing the cyclical nature of life, change, and destiny, seemed particularly poignant. It reminded him that life is a constant flux of ups and downs, opportunities and challenges, and that he was once again at the cusp of another turning point. Jonathan's recent decision to maintain a balance between his professional and personal life had brought him a sense of contentment. However, the wheel was turning again, and with it came new challenges and opportunities. His work, particularly the documentary series, had caught the eye of a renowned global environmental organization. They approached him to collaborate on a project that aimed to bring awareness to climate change and its impact on urban environments. This opportunity excited Jonathan. It aligned with his values and artistic vision and offered a platform to make a meaningful impact. Yet, it also meant committing to extensive travel and research, potentially disrupting the delicate equilibrium he had worked so hard to achieve. Meanwhile, Mia's residency in another city was coming to an end, and she was contemplating her next move. Their relationship had withstood the test of distance, but they now faced new decisions about their future together. Would they continue to pursue their individual careers in different cities, or was it time to find a common ground? As Jonathan pondered these questions, he returned to his photography, capturing the evolving landscape of the city in the throes of spring. These moments of creativity were meditative, helping him to clear his mind and focus on what truly mattered. After much contemplation and discussions with Mia, Jonathan accepted the environmental organization's offer. They agreed that while the project would bring challenges, it was too significant to pass up. It was a chance to contribute to a cause they both deeply cared about and to create work that could inspire change. Mia, on the other hand, decided to return to the city, where she had been offered a position to lead a community art initiative. This decision brought her closer to Jonathan, both geographically and in their shared vision of making a difference through their art. As Jonathan embarked on the environmental project, he traveled to various cities, documenting the impacts of climate change. These travels opened his eyes to the stark realities and urgencies of the environmental crisis. The more he saw and learned, the more determined he became to use his photography as a tool for awareness and action. Back in the city, Mia's community art project was taking shape, creating a vibrant space for local artists to showcase their work and engage with social issues. Jonathan and Mia found ways to collaborate, bridging their two worlds of photography and community art. The Wheel of Fortune had come full circle, bringing both challenges and opportunities, testing and strengthening their relationship. Jonathan's journey was a testament to the ever-changing nature of life and the importance of adapting to its ebbs and flows. As the chapter closed, Jonathan prepared for his first exhibition of the environmental series, a culmination of his hard work and dedication. The exhibition was not just a showcase of his photographs, but a call to action, urging viewers to recognize and respond to the climate crisis. Jonathan stood in the gallery, surrounded by his powerful images, feeling a profound connection to his work and its purpose. He had embraced the wheel's turn, accepting both its challenges and gifts. His journey was a reminder that change is inevitable and that with each turn comes new opportunities to grow, learn, and make a difference. The Wheel of Fortune upright had guided him through a pivotal phase in his life, teaching him that every change, every turn, brings its own rewards. As he looked ahead, Jonathan was ready to continue his journey, wherever the wheel might take him next, with Mia by his side and a heart full of purpose and hope. As summer returned, enveloping the city in its warm embrace, Jonathan encountered the Judgment card in his tarot reading. Representing awakening, rebirth, and a profound inner calling, this card resonated deeply with him. It came at a time when Jonathan was re-evaluating his life's purpose, spurred by the profound experiences and realizations from his environmental project. The exhibition of his environmental series had been a resounding success, not just in terms of attendance, but in sparking conversations about climate change. It was more than an artistic achievement, it was a platform that had allowed Jonathan to merge his passion for photography with his growing environmental consciousness. This success, however, was not the end point. Instead, it served as a catalyst for a deeper awakening within him. Inspired by this newfound purpose, Jonathan decided to establish a foundation dedicated to using art as a medium for environmental awareness. The idea was to collaborate with artists across various mediums to create works that highlighted environmental issues and encouraged public engagement and action. This venture was a significant step for Jonathan, one that transcended his individual work and sought to create a broader impact. Mia, who had successfully launched her community art initiative, became an integral part of this foundation. Their combined efforts and shared vision brought a unique synergy to the project. Together, they worked tirelessly, reaching out to artists, environmentalists, and community leaders, weaving a network of passionate individuals committed to making a difference. As the foundation took shape, Jonathan felt a sense of fulfillment that he had never experienced before. He was no longer just a photographer, he was an advocate for change, using his art to voice important messages and inspire collective action. This role brought with it a sense of responsibility and urgency, driving him to delve deeper into environmental issues and explore new ways to communicate them through his art. However, the Judgment card's influence also brought personal revelations. Jonathan realized that his journey was not just about external achievements, but also about inner growth and understanding. He began to explore mindfulness and meditation, practices that helped him stay grounded and focused amidst the whirlwind of his professional endeavors. These practices led to a greater sense of self-awareness and a deeper connection with his work. Jonathan found that his photography, now more purpose-driven, resonated with a sense of truth and authenticity that transcended aesthetic appeal. It was a reflection of his journey, a testament to the power of awakening to one's true calling. As summer waned, Jonathan and Mia organized a major event under the auspices of their foundation. It was an art exhibition combined with a series of talks and workshops on environmental conservation. The event was a melting pot of ideas and creativity, drawing people from all walks of life and fostering a community united by a common cause. The chapter of Judgment Upright closed with Jonathan standing amidst the bustling event, observing the interaction of art and audience, ideas and conversation. He realized that this was just the beginning of a larger journey, one that extended beyond him. He had answered a calling, not just to create but to lead, to inspire, and to awaken others to the challenges and beauty of the world around them. The Judgment card had been a mirror, reflecting his inner transformation and the awakening of a new chapter in his life. As Jonathan looked ahead, he was filled with a sense of purpose and hope, ready to continue this journey, wherever it might lead, with the conviction that each step was a part of a larger, more meaningful tapestry of life. The arrival of autumn brought a sense of accomplishment and closure, much like the World card in Jonathan's tarot deck. This card, symbolizing completion, fulfillment, and harmony, perfectly encapsulated the stage of life he was now experiencing. After a year of profound personal growth and professional achievements, Jonathan felt a sense of wholeness and contentment. The foundation established by Jonathan and Mia had flourished, becoming a prominent platform for artists and activists dedicated to environmental causes. Their collaborative efforts had created a ripple effect, inspiring communities to engage in sustainable practices and raising awareness about the urgent need for environmental conservation. The success of the foundation had also brought Jonathan personal fulfillment. He had evolved from a photographer capturing moments to an influential figure driving change. This journey had not only expanded his professional horizons, but had also enriched his personal life, bringing a deeper sense of purpose and connection to his work. As he walked through the city, camera in hand, Jonathan saw it with new eyes. The streets and buildings, once just subjects of his photographs, now represented the interconnectedness of life and the impact of human actions on the environment. His photography, enriched by these insights, had become more than just art. It was a narrative of the times, a call to mindfulness and responsibility. With the onset of winter, the city transformed under a blanket of snow, offering a fresh canvas for Jonathan's creative eye. This change in scenery coincided with the appearance of the Hierophant card in his tarot reading, symbolizing tradition, conformity, and education. This card challenged Jonathan to reconcile his innovative spirit with the established norms and traditions of the art world. The foundation had become a beacon of environmental advocacy, yet Jonathan felt a growing need to push its boundaries further. He wanted to explore more radical and unconventional methods of conveying their message, to break away from traditional forms of expression and create something truly groundbreaking. This desire for innovation clashed with the expectations of some foundation members and supporters who favored more conventional approaches. Jonathan found himself at a crossroads, needing to honor the foundation's mission, while also staying true to his vision of pushing artistic and environmental discourse into new realms. Amidst this internal conflict, Jonathan embarked on a project that aimed to blend immersive technology with environmental art. He envisioned an interactive exhibition that used virtual reality to transport viewers into different ecosystems, allowing them to experience firsthand the beauty of nature and the stark reality of environmental degradation. To bring this vision to life, Jonathan collaborated with technologists and environmental scientists, creating a multisensory experience that was both educational and emotionally impactful. This project was a departure from his usual photographic work, combining technology, art, and activism in a way that had never been done before within the foundation. Mia, always supportive, encouraged Jonathan's innovative approach, seeing it as a natural evolution of his artistic journey. She, too, found ways to innovate within her community art projects, integrating digital media and interactive elements to engage a broader audience. As the project developed, Jonathan faced resistance from some long-standing members of the foundation who viewed this new direction as too radical and a departure from its core values. Jonathan understood their concerns, but remained convinced that innovation was crucial for growth and impact. He believed that art, like nature, needed to evolve and adapt. The interactive exhibition opened to mixed reviews. While some praised its groundbreaking approach and powerful message, others criticized it for straying too far from traditional environmental art forms. Despite these mixed reactions, the exhibition succeeded in sparking conversation and debate, which Jonathan viewed as a positive outcome. Throughout this period, Jonathan reflected on the Hierophant's teachings. He realized that while it was important to respect traditions and learn from them, it was equally important to challenge conventions and explore new ways of thinking and creating. This balance between tradition and innovation became a guiding principle for his work. As winter gave way to spring, Jonathan's journey with the Hierophant card came full circle. He had navigated the delicate balance between honoring the past and embracing the future, between respecting established norms and pushing the boundaries of creativity. The chapter closed with Jonathan planning his next series of projects, invigorated by the challenges and learnings of the past season. He had embraced the role of the Hierophant in his own life as a teacher, a guardian of tradition, and a pioneer of innovation. He was ready to continue his journey, guided by the wisdom of the past and the possibilities of the future, ever committed to using his art as a tool for education, awareness, and change.